Hi everyone, welcome back to CEED Strategies 2026. If you have been following this series, you know that we have talked about Part A, the preparation, the sources, question types, and the approach towards them. But in today's episode, we are going to talk about Part B, what it means, where to practice from, what are the questions that are expected, and how to approach them basically. Let us begin with the very basic question at first. What is Part B and why it is part of CEED? Part B's basic motto is to check your communication skills. It's not to judge your sketching and drawing and everything, but rather how you're able to communicate your ideas from your mind onto the paper to the invigilator. So Part B is not about how good of a sketcher you are, but rather how good of a communicator you are, how effective your ideas are, your storytelling process reflects through your sketches. The evaluation criteria for this part mainly focuses on innovative ideas, clarity of sketches, a bit of humor in some solutions, and the neatness of the presentation and the designs, the drawings that you have made. Now, there's a very common myth. You do not need to be a good sketcher to clear Part B. What you really need is just communicate your ideas visually. That's it. The examiner should be able to look at your sketches and get your ideas instantly without even having to give any thought to it. This video is going to be specially curated for students like me, that I've been people who are coming from a non-design background, because trust me, I've been there and I was a terrible sketcher. But with practice and the right understanding of the path and what to do and what not to do, I improved my skills on drawing. So look at the basics of drawing that is required for Part B and that you should first approach for. First of all, and the most important skill is the line quality. You're judged on the basis of how fine your lines are. So avoid making hairy lines, like the basic practice that we always have, like creating hairy lines. If you have that, always have like a small edged eraser in order to clean your lines. So it's very important to practice line quality, and how you can do that, you can go on YouTube and you can search for line quality practices. They'll make you practice lines, shapes, curves, and all of that. And in order to practice, you do not need a very fancy sketchbook or something. You can literally grab some old notebook or newspaper and practice on that. Get your pencil and just start practicing lines and shapes and everything in whatever paper you get. Don't invest a lot in sketchbooks, and I know they're quite expensive, so I mean, if you have the resources at home, utilize it. So the more you practice, the more control you will get over your hand. And also during exam, scale is not allowed, so you should practice creating lines, shapes freehand. The second skill required is light and shadow. Again, it is a very another important basic drawing skill required in order to show where a product is kept, what is the depth, what is the height of it, and all those perspective things. So this is another basic skill which you should know and you should practice for. Now the third important thing, which is texture. So we all know that there is a question of product design always being asked in Part B CEED, and in that question we always find a product to be drawn with some material. So by texture, I mean you should practice for material textures, for example wood, paper, clay, metal, anything. So practice small textures which will help you give realism and clarity on your drawings. The next skill required to practice is perspective. Within perspective, there are different categories now. There are 1-point perspective, 2-point perspective, 3-point perspective, and view, top view, eagle eye view, all fish eye view. All these views are required. This will help you visualize and represent those objects and products that you will be drawing on the paper in from different perspectives. It will be your this skill will be utilized in your very first question, which is about perspective. So you should practice one point perspective for sure, and also ant view or fish eye view. So these are the most commonly perspective questions that are usually asked in the previous year questions. Also in the product design question, in which you need to show the isometric view, top view, side view, all the views of an product. So it will be helpful for that question as well. And finally comes the problem solving question. Here's one major tip for this part. Do not rely on new innovative ideas to come during your exam. It won't happen. It hardly happens. But what helps is the 100 ideas that you have curated during your practice period. So practice so much, like literally pick up all the previous year questions, collect all the problem solving questions from previous years and solve them and practice them, because those questions and those answers that you have practiced at home will be your bank of ideas, and from there only you're going to pick up your ideas and put it up in your exam. So during the exam, you can quickly pull from those bank of ideas and put it up in your answer sheet. Also remember, keep your answer clean without any background noises, as clean as possible. Annotate it with literally one-liners or something. Don't write like paragraphs and stuff. Keep it clean, to the point, and show the problems, not the solution to it. So guys, that was all for this episode. To summarize part B, focus on line quality, light and shadow, texture, perspective, and also problem solving questions. These are the foundations for the preparation for part B. That's it. So if you have practiced these basics, you are definitely going to nail in the exam. So in the next episode, we are going to talk about something even more important, which is how to strategize your time for part B. So we're going to talk about how we're going to manage our time effectively during the exam for part B. If you want to get your answers and part B practice questions reviewed from me, go and book your sessions on TopMate. I have given the link down in the comments. And see you soon. See you next weekend with the next episode. Thank you.